What's up, guys? I quit my job day 4, so I went and turned in my badge this morning, and I had a slight anxiety attack right after because I had a phone call that kind of stressed me out because it was a continuation of a phone call that I had yesterday, and the guy was just like kind of demanding, and it made me feel some type of way. I kind of like regretted quitting for a second, and then I was like, he's just being a dick. That doesn't mean that I made the wrong choice. So I'm out here in nature, baby, at the river. It's so nice out. And I'm just walking around, being in the moment and accepting whatever. I know I've put a lot of energy into the universe to get me to this moment. So now I'm just, spider web on me. Now I'm just sort of creating, sorry, I think there's something tickling my arm. I'm just trying to trying to create a space for, the things that I created to come back to me. And, gosh, I've felt so many different emotions over these past 4 days, but this never felt like the wrong thing. It definitely felt scary, but it never felt like the wrong thing. Like, I know I'm doing the right thing. And I was thinking on this walking down here, I was thinking, I've actually been fighting this my entire life. I've known since I was a kid that I knew something that other people didn't. I was like in touch with something that other people weren't in touch with. I've always known that. And as soon as I learned about, good morning. As soon as I learned about drugs and alcohol, then I just tried to numb it. Because when I would try to talk to people about it, they didn't get it. And I just felt so out of place all the time. And I always was faking what I would talk about. I would always talk about what other people wanted to talk about to, get on, just to fit in, to get on their level. I'm also a Life Path 11, so I think that has to do with why I was doing that. But anyway, I was always faking who I was and what I talked about. And then, and I've struggled with addiction, like since I've learned about it, since I was about 19. And I've had a couple, I'm going to say this is probably my third big awakening, but I didn't know I was awakening before. I just thought I was going crazy. This time I'm not fighting it. I'm embracing it. I'm not numbing it with drugs and alcohol. I'm embracing it, and it's scary, but every day it's a little bit less scary. I'll kind of like get this feeling of like anxiety, and then I'm just like, breathe, be in the moment. And I'm being able to calm myself down a lot faster than I was just even a week ago. So I'm really excited to where this is going to go. I think I might actually put some effort into like maybe actually doing some like really good YouTube videos. I'm not saying these aren't good, but actually, do like a setup, set up the camera and put it on the tripod. But I don't know, this is working. Another thing I'll say, if anybody out there is going through a spiritual awakening, I would say number one thing that's helping me right now is doing these videos. Because for one thing, I know that the people reading the comments, the people that are putting the comments in, if you found this video, then you're probably going through something similar. So it immediately makes you feel connected. And even though we are all connected and we are all one, sometimes when you're going through an awakening, this is so pretty what I'm looking at. Just looking at the water flow. Anyway, the lighting's better on this side. So even though we are all connected and we are all one, sometimes we don't feel like it. You can feel so alone and disconnected. And so these videos really help. And then, seeing the other people that are, you can, gosh, I'm just very grateful for YouTube. I heard somebody say the other day, I don't remember who it was, but they said that we created YouTube so that we could remember, so that we could wake up. I very much agree with that. YouTube has been very instrumental in my spiritual awakening, and because the times in the past when I had went through this type of thing, I didn't have YouTube, so, or if I did, I just wasn't on it that much. Dang, I don't know what is on my arm. It's so tickly. I think it might have just been a hair. Anyway, in the past, I didn't have, because let's see, the last one I went through was like so the last one I went through, I think, was in 2012. Funny enough, it was in 2012, and the guy I was with at the time, Tim, who passed away, rest in peace, he also had a drug addiction. I think he might have been one of the ones that was supposed to wake up first too, because he dealt with some demons, and I feel like me waking up scared him. I would try to talk to him about it, and he actually is the one that first got me into meditating. But my mind would go so deep. My mind would go so deep with it that it would freak me out. I would get scared, like, what the heck? Nothing's real. And then I would just want to chug a bottle of alcohol or 10 beers. Mine thing's usually beer. But he was definitely in touch with his spirituality at some level. And then he got into drugs, hardcore drugs, and numbed it. And that's what ended up taking his life. But he did know some stuff, because he was a good coach to me. But then when I started getting really woke, he kind of guided me away from it. And I remember him saying one time, like, Danielle, you're gonna ruin your life. You're gonna ruin your career and your family life. And I was like, what? But he was just, and he didn't like me drinking, but he also was supportive of me going back into the matrix. Although we didn't call it that at the time. We just called it, so it was funny. We had a joke between us. We called it, when I was getting spiritual and deep, we called it like me being on my Tony Robbins shit and thought I was having a mental breakdown. And he was very encouraging of me getting on Lega-C, which is an antidepressant, which that is one way to numb your spirituality real quick. But he was supportive of me getting back on that. And so he was on SSRIs for a long time, and they quit working for him. And I think he was fighting his awakening as well. I don't know, but that's just looking back, it seems like he was going through something similar to what I'm going through now, but I'm not fighting it. I also don't have young kids. I'm by myself, so it's hard when you have a family around you, because you can't just change the person you are. Everybody freaks out, like, what's wrong with you? But I have an opportunity now to embrace it, and I am embracing it, and I'm very much embracing it. But neither one of us were in that. We didn't have that luxury at that time in our lives. We both had young kids, so anyway, I feel like he had a little more insight than I did on that. Anyway, so yeah, that was in 2012, and then we kind of joked like, oh yeah, I was on my Tony Robbins, spiritual breakthrough or whatever, breakdown is what we called it, my breakdown. And then, I just started taking Lega-C to numb it, and then got back into drinking really bad. Before that, I would say the one I had was when I was 19, and I was experimenting with some drugs, but I saw some stuff, and I channeled it all in the wrong way. I didn't know how to process any of it. That was the worst one. I took it out on my parents. I blamed my parents for all this. I wrote this long letter to my parents, just saying horrible things to them, like, why did they do this to me? Why did they do this? And they threatened to take my daughter away from me, and probably for good reason, because I was doing drugs at the time. But Now, my whole life, I've blamed that on me experimenting with drugs. But looking back, it wasn't the drugs. The drugs channeled it into the wrong energy, or I guess channeled the wrong energy. But what I was going through was an awakening. I just didn't have any support, and the only people that were around me were people that were doing drugs with me, and so they would like feed into it and get my mind going all kinds of crazy shit. And so, and looking back though, if I had access to these spiritual YouTube channels when I was 18, I would have woken up when I was 18 for sure. I would have woken up and probably would have never drank or did drugs again. But we didn't have YouTube. I don't even think internet had like just became public. Good morning. I think internet had just became public at that time. Hi. So we didn't have all that stuff. So anyway, so I would say this is my third. And then I always kind of felt it when I was a kid. I always was either quiet or angry. And I was angry. People would say, what are you so mad about? 'Cause nobody gets me. I want to talk about stuff and nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. But I'm not angry about that anymore. I'm letting that go. I'm so grateful for these people on YouTube. So grateful. And if you're going through something similar, I would almost say it's your duty to put these videos out, because the more of us that put our story out there, the more of us that will wake up, and then we don't have to be alone anymore. And because I think everybody's meant to experience this. I don't have any desire to drink or do drugs or eat meat or eat dairy. It's actually comes natural when you're in touch with your higher self. It comes natural. The right choices come naturally. And you don't feel like this feeling to numb anything. In fact, I realized the entire time I was numbing, it was just numbing my higher self and me talking to my lower self, I guess, about what was really going on. And once I know that it's okay to accept reality, whatever that may be, whatever we create, once I realize it's okay to accept that, then I don't have the desire to numb anything. It's still, like I said, it still gets scary, but I've had less scary moments. Like the first day, or day 2, I think, after I quit, I was having like an anxiety attack, like almost probably like every 2 hours. I had multiple, maybe like 5 anxiety attacks that day. My heart was just beating so hard. The third day, I think I had 1. And this morning, I had like a feeling like I was going to have one, but it went away shortly after. In fact, as soon as I felt it, I was like, okay, that's all right. I didn't even try to fight it. I almost just wanted to go in my bedroom and bawl my eyes out. But instead, I went on this walk. And I feel fine. There's still a lot of things that I'm processing, but yeah, it's pretty intense. It's intense, but I'm excited about the future. And yeah, if you ever see this, you're going through something similar, I would say just start recording. So I think the biggest thing to know, if you're scared about making a YouTube video, is that we're all connected and we're all one. So if you're worried about what somebody thinks about you, who cares? Because everybody's you. Everyone is you. So that's like your finger hurting, and your other hand's not going to go cut that finger off. It's going to care for it. So when part of you is vulnerable, you care for it. And you have to know, if you're afraid to put yourself out there and be vulnerable, it's okay, because there are other people that are just as vulnerable, that are putting themselves out there, that will be there for you. And it's so encouraging. So, and I think that just being vulnerable connects you more to your higher self. So doing this and putting myself out here and telling my story is actually connecting me more to my higher self. And so it actually is therapeutic in a way. It's way more therapeutic than like going and trying to talk to a counselor. I've done that before. So you know what? I guess that would still be in the same time around the 2012 stuff. But I don't like talking to counselors, because they try to, I don't like when people psychoanalyze me if they're not woke. My sister does it to me. She did it to me yesterday, 2 days ago. It hurts a lot. She said, because I was trying to talk to her about it, she goes, maybe you're just trying to have control because you've never had control. And this is after, I talked to her for hours about, our thoughts are things. And I've told her about all these books. And she's even said to me, I'm jealous of you and your energy. And how do you, she's told me that she wishes she could do the things that I'm doing. But then, and I tell her how to do it. But then she says something like one day she told me I was acting manic. And I really want to be close to her, but at the same time, sometimes I feel like for my own good, I have to distance myself because, man, that really hurts. It hurts when you want somebody to get you and they don't. And it's okay if they don't get me. That's okay. But, like, I don't like when she's like, oh, you're doing this because of this. Hi.
I'll walk around.
Oh, you're good. So many people have already come behind me. So, yeah. Thank you, though. Have a wonderful day. People are so nice. So, anyway, it hurts if somebody, they might not get you, but they don't have to get you. That's fine. They don't have to get you, but it hurts when they are, when they're trying to figure out why you, and I guess that's her way of processing what I'm doing, and that's fine. She's part of me, and I need to accept that, and that's probably something that I need to work on, to be honest. But at the same time, it is a little bit draining, and it makes me feel icky about myself afterwards. And I don't want to talk to people that makes me feel icky afterwards. And I don't know how I can say that or communicate, or if I'm even supposed to communicate that to her without. I don't know if I'm supposed to communicate that to her. I don't know if I'm supposed to communicate that to her or just let it be. Probably just let it be. But it did help me to get it off of my chest, to be honest, because I love her so much, and I know she's part of me, and we're very connected. But it is painful. It is, and I also don't want to be withdrawn from everybody. But sometimes it's like, I know for me to embrace this and not freak out and go back to the old way. I'm gonna walk and talk, and not go back to the old way. Spiritual soul in the building. I've been watching so many videos. Anyway, hopefully y'all can appreciate that. But I feel like this is how he does his video. He holds his phone. He's just walking. He's always so lit on his videos too, like so mad. I don't watch his videos that much because I have seen them, and he's definitely waking up. But I feel like he's I don't know. It makes me scared sometimes. Like I get mad. Like. Oh, and I guess that I'm not ready for the why yet. For right now, I'm kind of processing what is, but I don't know if I'm ready for why, and I don't know if I want the why. To be quite honest, I don't know. So, hearing some high frequencies. It's such a beautiful day out here. And anyway, so it maybe just meant for me to talk about on here, and maybe that's all that I needed to do. But yeah, it's challenging, and I look forward to the day that I can make videos where I'm helping other people and telling other people what to do or how to process their awakening. But I'm still so deep going through mine that I'm like just trying to stay grounded. Man, this is such a great outlet to help us stay grounded. Meditation is so powerful. If any of you are watching this, and so I used to watch these videos because I started meditating, and I got into the mindset of like, I started learning about the law of attraction, and I was using it and it was working, but it's not a 737. I couldn't tell what it was. It was small, kind of. It was too many trees in the way. Anyway, so anyway, I started learning about the law of attraction, and but I was meditating, but I was still drinking and smoking and all that good stuff, all that bad stuff, all that bad stuff. And it was lowering my vibration, so I wasn't. The law of attraction will work. You don't have to be woke for the law of attraction to work. It'll still work. But if you want it to work on a big level, like something big, like me being the CEO of my own company and making millions and billions of dollars, you're going to have to get pretty in touch with your higher self. Big dreams require big energy, and you got to be in tune with your higher self to access that big energy. You can attract a human, you can attract somebody you love, you can attract a job, you can attract a lot of things without being fully in touch with your spiritual self. So I was using that, and I started wanting to watch like more videos about how to attract bigger things. And I didn't know that there was such a thing as becoming more woke than I already was. I was thinking I had it. Honestly, that was a very fun time. That's probably the most funnest time because you're getting like the magic without like the pain of seeing what really is. And I used to watch people, I used to watch these videos and they would talk about things I'm talking about right now. And I thought they were so weird. And I was like, what are they talking about? They would talk about higher levels of consciousness and Reiki and sun gazing and ancient Egypt. And I was like, I'm just trying to manifest this little thing over here. And so I would get bored with them. And I'd maybe watch like a minute of their video and then I would get bored with it until it started happening to me. So I learned that if you want to attract something big, it requires bigger energy. And it was like, figure out what your blockages are. And I knew my blockages were alcohol and cigarettes and weed and all that stuff. And so I knew that, I knew that's what they were. And I knew that's what I had to give up. And it was like 2 days after I gave that stuff up, whoa, third eye popped open. And it was so crazy. It was like my whole head, like right here, was like vibrating for like 2 days. It almost, those little things, I don't know if you've ever used those they have like these little nodes you can put on your body, and you can use them for like pain relief. And they're supposed to also like work out your muscles. I forget what they're called, but they're like little electrodes. And then you turn it on and it kind of like, almost like electrocutes you. It's like this little shock. It felt like I had like a million, like the strongest voltage going like right here. My whole crown all the way to here. And I was like, what the hell is this? But I embraced it. I didn't really know what was coming. And so anyway, when I would hear people talking about their level of consciousness, I thought they were just saying stuff that they read in books. I didn't realize it was something that you realize, that you experience, it's like, I don't know, you ever been like in, like a lot of times in math, like I did engineering, so sometimes I'd be working on a problem and it would just be so hard and I couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, like after working on it for like 3 or 4 days, a light bulb would just go off. Hi. And you would just get it, like, oh, okay, I get it. And you can't really explain it to anybody. It's just like, it makes sense. You look at it long enough, it makes sense. Well, that's sort of how like the awakening thing was. I'm not saying it makes sense. It's far from making sense to me. But I did get to a point where I was like, oh, wait, okay, literally 2D. Ooh, interesting. And started feeling the other dimension. Gosh, another thing, I keep having these, when I'm meditating, I end up in the cosmos doing like, it's so weird. I like turn into like this tornado in the galaxy, and I start like whirling around, and I can like spin with like other people's energies. And it's very strange because it's not unfamiliar. I've been to space before. And when I learned when I learned what Life Path 11 was, and gosh, it made me almost cry. I actually have cried multiple times because I felt that, and I've always known that. And I know this, if you're different and you feel like you've never fit in, you are you're probably going to be one of the people to wake up. And you've probably always known it. So another funny story is, I'm just rambling about nothing. You guys are just going to be with me on my walk. This is nice. I like this. So another funny story is when my DVD player, it was a piece of junk several years ago. And like almost all of our DVDs were just, I just didn't want them. I was moving and a lot of them were scratched and they took up a lot of space, and I was trying to kind of downsize the junk. And so I think I just trashed them or gave them to Goodwill. I can't remember. I think I threw most of them away because they were scratched. Anyway, I kept one. I kept one DVD out of hundreds. And that DVD that I kept was The Matrix, because every time that I've watched that movie, I've always felt like I'm Neo. Someday somebody's going to wake me up. I just haven't been woke up yet. And I've always known that since I've seen that movie. I mean, not before that, but even before that, I knew that I was supposed to be doing something different. And it was so hard to get me to fit in. So we're going to pick up a little trash here. Try to pay it forward to the universe. I picked up some trash earlier this morning, and it was covered with ants. That's why I'm not going to say I'm fully awake, because it was really hard for me not to smash them all. But then I caught myself, though. And I was like, oh no, they're alive too. So I tried to brush them off my hand or rinse them off in some water, but it still was like, ooh. There was so many of them. Anyway, I don't know what's in this cup. But yeah, so I guess just thanks for watching, and leave a comment if you've experienced anything like this. If you know anybody that's experienced anything like this, put a thumbs up. Just put a thumbs up, it lets me know that, hey, I'm not alone. I appreciate it. And share it. My Instagram I'll put my Instagram down there. I don't use it that much, but I'll put it down there. And anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll talk then. Love you. Bye.